Hi, you've reached the Nail Mogul, and I am available to talk. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. Today's tutorial is going to be Coffin versus Stiletto. This video is a request from one of my students who really wanted to see the differences in shaping a coffin nail versus shaping a stiletto nail. So I'm going to be voicing over. That was also a request. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for watching. And I'm going to be voicing over at different times to just explain the differences between shaping these two very fashionable and trendy nail types. So let's get started. And once again, thank you so much for stopping by. So right here, I have my stork scissors, and I'm actually, for the coffin nail, I'm making a long single cut all the way up to the tip of the finger. You'll notice a slightly different technique when I actually cut the shape for the stiletto nail. Now notice when I use the stork scissors to cut the stiletto shape that I'm angling the scissors much more dramatically than I did when I cut the shape for the coffin nail. So with coffin, you want to use one long, gently angled stroke on each side. And with your stiletto, you want to do turn your scissors at a much sharper angle and do both sides, and it will give you more of that pointy look to it. So right here, take note that I'm using the file to use long continuous strokes versus short choppy strokes. The shape of the coffin, by its very nature, intrinsically it's a long, straight, angled nail. So you want to use your abrasive board and go back and forth in really long, straight strokes. So right there, I was just demonstrating the strokes that you don't want to use, short, choppy strokes. You don't want to place your file and then kind of rub like back and forth rapidly, because you'll get an uneven coffin shape if you do that. So now right here, take notice that the file, I've placed the file closer to the free edge of the nail tip to taper the free edge part of the coffin. So when you begin filing to get that shape, you start off with your long continuous strokes on either side. But then if you want to refine towards the free edge, you're going to place your abrasive board closer to the free edge of the coffin shape, and then file in a shorter stroke while applying pressure. So right here, I'm pointing out the differences between shaping a coffin nail tip and shaping a stiletto nail tip. The stiletto nail tip, actually, you want to create a nice rounded line on either side, which is different than your coffin, because you want to keep those two lines where your eye will fall when you're looking at the nail. really, really, really straight. But it's very different with the coffin because you actually want that roundedness. You want that rounded curve. It's just what goes along with the whole coffin shape thing. So at this point, you've created the coffin shape that you needed to achieve. And if you wanted to create an almond nail look, you would simply just take that pointed free edge and round it. Just take that pointiness and take your file and go in a circular motion, and that's really what's considered an almond nail shape. So now that I've achieved the coffin shape that I was going for, take note of how I'm applying the acrylic. One of the things that gave me a lot of trouble when I first began doing coffins was that I'm so used to shaping stilettos because it's my favorite nail shape to do on clients, and it's my favorite nail shape to wear myself. And I was actually applying the acrylic on the coffin nail kind of chunky and high and bumped up the way you would do on a stiletto, and it never looked correct to me. I'm applying my acrylic on the coffin nail really, really slender and low to keep that nice, tapered, slender shape to it. So right here, I'm just showing you my nail. I sculpted this coffin nail, and it's pretty slender. I usually work really, really light when I'm doing coffin nails, whether I'm encapsulating or not. It just, in my mind, keeps the shape, keeps the nail so much more true to the coffin shape. I'm applying a little bit of acrylic to the very tip of the coffin because when I create a coffin shape, I like for it to have a really, really defined look, especially towards the free edge, because in my mind, that's an important part of the shape looking really, really nice and crisp. So what I do is I go onto the free edge after I've applied the acrylic to the nail tip, and then I sort of cap it, and it just gives it a really, really crisp look on the edge of the nail. Now, as I begin shaping the stiletto nail, I do a lot less moving and patting and touching of the acrylic, because a stiletto nail, you want to have a nice rounded beveled kind of look to it. And if you notice, as I'm applying the acrylic on this particular nail shape, I'm touching it a lot less. I generally try to touch the acrylic as minimally as possible. If I could touch it twice the whole time that I'm doing the nail, that's what I'm going for. So you want the acrylic to be set up to have like a nice rounded look to it. And the more you touch it, the more you flatten it out. And when I say touch it, I mean with your acrylic brush. So the difference with this is that I'm not wiping and feathering in the acrylic as much as I did with creating a nice crisp coffin shape. Now right here, I'm pointing out how I'm going to add some additional acrylic to the apex of the enhancement, because with a stiletto, it's almost like the chunkier the better. You don't want the nail to look like overweight, but you do want it to have a nice kind of high look, and it's a very, very dramatic in your face kind of shape. So I'm adding some additional acrylic to just top it off and give it that nice, smooth, kind of curvy appeal to it. Okay, so this funny, weird move that I'm making, I'm just showing my trigger finger, my trigger acrylic finger. I like to take the brush and actually, as if it were a trigger, just float it back and forth so that I can get a super, super, super uber feather touch to it. And in my mind, that keeps the shape of the acrylic really smooth so that you don't have to do a ton of filing afterwards. So I hope this video tutorial has been helpful to you. I greatly appreciate you visiting my channel today. Thank you so very much. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do subscribe to my channel. It would be greatly appreciated. Once again, thank you so much for visiting with the Nail Mogul today. And as always, may God bless you.